Bungie keeps telling us that they're listening, but every action proves otherwise. I'm an editor of FPS trailers working inside the gaming industry and spent thousands of hours in Destiny alone. I've seen how this game is built and sadly now, how it's sold. With Edge of Fate we got filler. With Ash and Iron, a mashed together new activity and the grind was made even worse. Bungie isn't delivering more content, they're stretching less content to retain us longer. So it's time, Guardians. We need to act in ways Bungie understands. Data on graphs. And so we need to boycott Bungie today until they fully deliver. Not just promises in a tweet, an update with core changes that work. Let me tell you why. Destiny players know the difference between content that matters and content that's just busy work. Edge of Fate, that is just busy work. Plain and simple. Bungie even admitted it didn't fit into the seasonal climb. Rewards were misplaced, the Kepler campaign ended in a brick wall, and after that, the only efficient path was Caldera, a solo grind in a game that keeps branding itself as a social MMO. That contradiction sums up the state of the game. Now comes Renegades, pitched as the real expansion. Their words, by the way. Bungie is pouring on the hype. A Star Wars crossover, syndicate reputations, criminal underworld, and activities that finally tie into progression. This is supposed to be the content you anchor your year around. But let's not pretend we haven't heard this before. Bungie has called past expansions game changers. Some delivered, others burned us. And while they hype Renegades, we can't ignore how Edge of Fate was used. It wasn't just filler, it was deliberate retention design. And Ash and Iron was a free update that offered the bare minimum of meaningful content whilst piling Eververse with new cosmetics. Engagement inflated, revenue locked in, player time stretched thin. And this is the cycle Bungie keeps repeating. They know how to market spectacle, but their strongest skill isn't game design anymore, it's monetization. They can serve up hype trailers and cinematic fantasies, but the reality? We're still left with content that feels designed to keep us spinning our wheels. If Edge was filler and Renegades is the feast, what actually makes it worth showing up when Bungie keeps proving they're more focused on retention numbers than on delivering real content? Renegades throws us into the lawless frontier. You start at the bottom with Drifter, making deals with shady syndicates, building reputation towards the Barren Imperium. Bungie leaned hard on Star Wars shorthand. Tharsis Outpost in Mos Eisley, the Praxic Order plays Jedi, Dredgen echoes Sith, Imperium stands in for Empire, even Mars has Sarlacc pits. None of it's subtle, and that's the point. It's designed for instant recognition. The fantasy lands. Whether you're deep in Destiny lore or casual, you instantly know who's corrupt, who's dangerous, and why you're forced to play outlaw. Bungie knows atmosphere, and here they've nailed the look and feel. But atmosphere doesn't solve the underlying issue. Edge of Fate proved that. The Kepler story didn't matter because it wasn't tied into progression. Bungie claims Renegades fixes this. Jobs, influence, reputation, all supposed to matter to the climb. And yet, Ash and Iron already showed us their hand. Bungie told us they were listening, and what did that look like? Matchmaking still ignored, the climb to max level made worse, not better. A grind deliberately stretched out to retain players as long as possible, while delivering the smallest amount of actual content. Every action spoke louder than their promises. That's the reality. Bungie doesn't prioritize delivering value, they prioritize retention metrics. And that's why players are tired of hearing we're listening when the evidence proves otherwise. If Renegades connects its activities better, does it matter? If Bungie still uses every system to retain you rather than respect you. On paper, Renegades fixes Edge of Fate's biggest flaw. Rewards finally connect to progression. Jobs feed power, influence matters. Weekly Vanguard orders escalate towards exotic rewards. Conquests become repeatable. Raids baseline at tier 3 loot. It looks like the climb has structure again, but here's the contradiction. The best loot is still locked behind raids and dungeons without any sort of matchmaking. Bungie wants Destiny to be social, but in practice, they wall off the crown jewels for the minority with static fire teams or the patience for Discord LFG. For most players, those rewards are out of reach. I even tried in-game LFG for a raid recently. My application either didn't get accepted, I was booted out immediately, or it was clear it was 6 people and none of them had any idea how to do it. And this is where the manipulation becomes impossible to ignore. Bungie will patch Eververse bugs in hours, but dungeon bugs left for months. And I paid for that. Ash and Iron drove this home. The grind to max power wasn't improved. It was intentionally stretched. Listening in words, punishing in design. If you wanted efficiency, you were funneled into chores. If you wanted access, you were blocked by systems with no matchmaking. And if you wanted cosmetics, those were polished and ready on day one, and you had to dip into your pocket again to get them. That's why the boycott message resonates. Bungie isn't showing they care about the player's time, they're showing they care about player attention and their money. And the only thing that's been delivering consistently is the Eververse storefront. So yes, Renegades might finally align jobs with rewards, but if the endgame is still a glass wall and the grind is still manipulated to keep us playing longer for less, then nothing has actually changed. Even if you can access Renegades content, will it actually be worth the effort? Or will it just hit another cycle of shallow dungeons and gated raids dressed up in Star Wars paint? Renegades looks like a full package. The Baron Imperium raid, a new dungeon, the return of Invasion, and the Praxic Blade, Destiny's first true lightsaber, fully customizable, built to be a long-term chase. On paper, it's the kind of content Destiny expansions should live or die on. But here's the harsh truth. Bungie knows exactly how to hype content most players will never touch. Raids, dungeons, aspirational gear, all locked behind systems with no matchmaking. The Praxic Blade might be iconic, but if the questline is gated, it's just another carrot dangled in trailers. And we've seen this cycle too many times. The best of Destiny is held back for the minority. The rest are left grinding diluted content while Eververse thrives. Ash and Iron exposed it again. No matchmaking, worse progression, deliberate delays framed as polished but really just retention padding and time gating again. Game-breaking bugs all over the place. Bungie's actions couldn't be clearer. This is why the boycott isn't just an overreaction. Bungie has shown us they only respond to numbers, not feedback. Cosmetics got cheaper when the sales dipped. Gambit only got mentioned when engagement tanked. Expansion delays weren't about quality, they're about stretching retention. If we keep paying and we keep logging in, nothing changes, guys. It's as simple as that. The uncomfortable truth is that Destiny remains one of the best feeling shooters in gaming. The sandbox is fantastic, it's unique, but that strength is exactly why Bungie gets away with this manipulation. They know the gameplay loop is fun enough to keep players tolerating systems designed to waste their time. And until that cycle breaks, expansions will remain more about player attention than player respect. Will Renegades finally deliver, or is it just another year of promises without change? And if the answer is the latter, then the only way forward is to step away, stop playing, stop paying, until Bungie delivers what players have been asking for all along. I'm going to be playing Borderlands 4 this week. And here's my promise to you. If Bungie does not make the appropriate changes in an update, not promises, actually doing it, this will be my last Destiny 2 video. Even though they are wildly some of the best videos that I make in terms of views. Edge of Fate was filler. Ash and Iron exposed the truth. Matchmaking ignored, grind made worse. Promises unkept. Renegades might look bigger, more ambitious, but Bungie's actions keep proving otherwise. If you value honest takes, stick around. Like, sub, or don't. I'm just glad you made it to this point in the video. But remember, Bungie doesn't care about words, only numbers. And the only message they can't ignore is when those numbers drop. Until they deliver, not promise, deliver what players actually want, it's time to boycott.